All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yellow Card Podcast, presented to you by Couch Guy Sports, sponsored by the one and only true friends that we have here at Couch Guy Sports. That is Shocked Energy and Exogun. I myself am getting an Exogun this week. Use my code CGS10. They got some deals going on. That 10% is coming in handy, very handy. So check out exogun.com. At 10%, oh baby. Your boys take care of you guys. Take care of the boys back. Use the code CGS10. Save 10% off. Help a brother and tell a brother. Anyways, Shocked Energy. Make sure to go over to shockedenergy.com or shockhydrate.com. Check out the new product. Check out the merchandise. And while you're at it, save another 10% on your boys as well. So it's Yellow Card episode 80. Number one, I cannot believe that we even made it to 80 episodes. But number two, Jones, how we feeling, buddy? 80 episodes in.
Again, like you said, I don't know who okayed you and I to not only run a podcast, but have it for 80 episodes.
Yep. I don't know that either, but 80 episodes in, doing pretty darn good. Predictions going in hot. You started a new segment, but we made it official on the podcast called the MLS, whatever it is that you're calling it now.
MLS Best Selection, dude.
MLS Best Selection. So it's a beautiful thing that you're calling it. So we got a lot of soccer to talk about today. We're talking EPL, Champions League, Europa League, MLS, Serie A, Manchester United breaking news over the weekend. So we got a lot going on. Got a lot going on. Oh, and also some rumors that we're talking about today. So
listen, my absolute favorite is close friends of mine that listen to the podcast sometimes question my Liverpool fandom because they're always like, guys talk about Manchester United just an awful lot. I'm like, well, it's just they're the team that draws the news attention right now.
Yeah.
That's the headlines right now. That's what we're talking about. Also,
there's nothing negative to talk about Liverpool right now. They're in everything.
Well, listen too. Also, I want it on the record. I have so many ideas. Year 2 has been fucking fantastic for us. Excuse my French, but year 3, I have so many ideas, and we're going to expand the way you look at the Yellow Card podcast.
There we go. I like it. So first and foremost, let's get the show started. Number one, a huge thank you to every single one of you that have tuned in week in and week out, listen to all of our episodes, 80 episodes in, and I can't believe that all of you are listening every single week so faithfully to us. So truly appreciate you. If you are not following the podcast yet, make sure that you follow us on Twitter at Podcast Card. Again, that handle is at Podcast Card. I heard that Elon Musk is a huge fan of soccer, so he might be listening to us now that he bought Twitter. So who knows? We might get a little bit of following from our boy Elon. But much like Elon, we got to get predictions going. We got to get real hot. So without further ado, Jones, select the league that you want to start with. You got Europa League, Champions League, and EPL. Go.
We're gonna start off in the Champions League. It's the fun one this week. The first leg of the Champions League. Let's go over the Champions League record, shall we?
Let's do it.
So through 120 matches in the Champions League so far this year, a lot of matches. Diego sitting at 63 and 57. So if I do my math correct, that is 52.5%.
Yep,
which is pretty solid overall. Then we have myself at 70 and 50, sitting at 58.3%.
Very nice.
Very well. Okay. First game to talk about happening on Tuesday, April 25th. Manchester City hosting Real Madrid. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you, Diego, and I'm looking at this, I can't believe how heavy of a favorite that Manchester City is over Real Madrid right now. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me. That's for starters for me. What do you think here?
I'm going with a 1-1 draw. I think these teams are very similar. Ancelotti, for some odd reason, in some way, has figured out a way to be able to play well against a Pep Guardiola system. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw. I do think City still has a lot of chaos to provoke, so can't count them out just yet.
See, don't get me wrong. I'm praying for the draw because that's big value right there.
Yeah.
One thing I think though is, and people are looking at this, the total of goals right now. I'm looking at the line. Sorry to go into the gambling aspect of it, but it's how my mind works for certain
Yep.
situations like this. It said it over 2.5. It's heavy. Like that's where the money is. It's like minus 150 for over 2.5 goals.
Dang.
So the 1-1 draw, you would hit the under, you would get the draw, would be a lot of money. I just think for me, in the Champions League, Real Madrid 4-1 on the road. The City is 4-0-1 at home. So something's got to give there. I think realistically, I think City wins 2-1 just because it's that EPL. But I would not be surprised with a draw, like Diego said as well. I think both teams are physical. You know, Kareem Benzema is just known for scoring these big goals. I think he's scoring for sure in this matchup. However, I just think City is going to have one more hit the back of the net than Real Madrid. And also, I like Ederson better than Courtois. So that also plays into the factor as well.
Yep.
All right. Next one. Another heavy favorite. Liverpool hosting Villarreal.
Yep.
Again, another one where the goal line, the total goals is 2.5. It's almost like it's like a minus 175 right now, which is crazy to me.
Holy crap.
So Liverpool 8-1 in the Champions League. They've been phenomenal. What do we think? Like they haven't met.
Yeah, no, they haven't met. But during the time of Premier League, when Unai Emery was in the Premier League, and every time that he faced Jurgen Klopp, it was always either a draw or very similar styles of play. So if there's somebody that can somewhat figure out Jurgen Klopp right now, it's Unai Emery and also Pep Guardiola. But that's besides the point. I'm going with a 2-1 victory here for Liverpool. I do think this is a very, very, very close match. I think both teams have different styles of football to offer that counteract and counter meet themselves in the middle, therefore leaving for either creativity or long through balls that either defense will not be ready for, especially in the later minutes of the game towards the 70th, 80th minute.
I think realistically, what Villarreal is going to try to do is they're going to try to play Liverpool like everything played Liverpool this pat in their last matchup. So with that being said, I think the result is the same, maybe different goal scorers, but I'll take Liverpool 2-0 to win over Villarreal. What a header by Origi the other night.
Oh my God, yeah.
In the Mary side.
Yep.
He's just him scoring against Everton. It's just money every single time.
All right, let's move over towards the Europa League. Another 2 games going on. Record so far in the Europa League, Jones doing pretty well, 21-20. Nice job. And myself at 19-22. Just gotta get above that 500 bottleneck, but we'll get there eventually. All right, first leg we got West Ham and Frankfurt. They haven't met, I don't think, ever at this point. What are we thinking right now?
This one to me, so Frankfurt is interesting because of the fact that if you look at it, they drew Barcelona in their first matchup, and then they went into Barca and were up 3-0 before winning 3-2. So you got to give them a little bit of credit here, but it's at West. No, is it at West Ham?
I believe it is at West Ham.
I'll have to. It is at West Ham, correct? With it being at West Ham, I'll give them the edge here. I like West Ham 2-0.
That was very close. That almost came very, very close. I'm going 2-1 West Ham. I do think that Moyes and company will figure this one out. And I do think it's going to be competitive, but I agree much with what you said. The only rebuttal I have is that Barcelona does not offer the same style of play that West Ham is currently offering right now. And with that, it leaves a little bit of room of improvement in the style of play that we will see later on this week in this Europa League match. But let's move on. RB Leipzig takes on Rangers. What are we thinking?
So Leipzig, to me, hasn't lost a match in their last 10, and Rangers have lost 2 out of their last 3 overall. So if you're looking at it, kind of look and you go, favors Leipzig. I actually think this game is at Leipzig. I think Rangers go in there. I think they put on massive effort. I think they come away with a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Well, so for Rangers, it's a little bit tough right now. They just lost their striker in Alfredo Morelos, who is to undergo surgery that will end the rest of his season. So with that said, they're down a man. That's why they've lost the past couple of games. They managed to make it out of that situation. I do believe that they have what it takes to take on Leipzig. I don't believe that they have a full tank. I think they'll win this one 2-0, but I wouldn't be surprised against the draw. What was your prediction again, Jones?
I had 1-1 draw. You had Leipzig 2-0.
No, I have Rangers 2-0.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
So we'll go with that. All right, let's move on to the bulk of the Champions League. With this one, there's really not much to talk about. First and second place are basically battling
In
head
the
to
EPL,
head
talking
in the
Champions
EPL.
League.
Yeah, the champions themselves are in the league themselves. There you go. So for the EPL, the first and second place are basically just battling against each other. One is waiting to lose, the other one's waiting to win and watch the other one lose, or vice versa. Chelsea's basically in for Champions League already. They're already solidified. Now the battle is between 4th, 5th, and 6th, with 4th already basically looking pretty good to go in and take care of business. Antonio Conte, we got some rumors going on, which we'll get into that later. So with that said, what we'll do for the Premier League is we'll just do a rapid fire round to not take too long, because we do have other topics to talk about that I'm sure Jones and I are going to want to get into conversations of that, as we're talking off air and we're already having some pretty decent conversations. So for starters, for the record, although we did not have an episode last week to give you predictions for the Premier League, Jones and I did kind of talk off air and we kind of rattled some predictions off of each other. We went basically 10-7, which that improves our records to 36-39 for myself, and Jones improves to 35-40. With that said, let's get into it. First up, Manchester United versus Chelsea, coming up this Thursday. What are you thinking?
Real quick, I mean, in their last 7, these 2 teams have drawn 5 out of the last 7, and the other 2 times Manchester United has won. I'm going to continue the trend here. I think it's a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. All right. I'm thinking 3-1 Chelsea on this one.
Chelsea hasn't beaten United since 2017 in the Premier League, by the way, just so you know.
Liverpool has also not whooped United's ass this bad in a while, so
that's true. All right, Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yep, I like this matchup a lot. I do think it's a little bit close. I'm gonna give it to Liverpool. They'll take care of business, especially with the battle for the front place. I'm going 2-1 Liverpool.
I got the same score, and for me too.
And it begins.
And for me too, this also has very much so revenge vibes for Newcastle because of the fact of they already played them this year before their big changes, and Liverpool wiped them 3-1 at home.
Yeah.
So with them at Newcastle, I think it's going to be a tough game. And of course, after coming off of, if you think about it, coming off their UCL game, it's just going to be a tough play for them.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We got Watford versus Burnley. I got 2-1 Burnley. There's not much to say about this match. What do you got?
I got Watford 2-1 here. Is it 2-1 Burnley?
Yeah.
I think with it being at Watford, I think they're going to play Burnley tough enough where they get the job done here. And if I'm not mistaken, they're still kind of fighting their way to stay in the Premier League as well, aren't they?
Yeah, in a way. Yep.
So right now you're looking at it they're only at, where are they points-wise? 27. But they could play spoiler here and try to bring Burnley down with them. But I like Watford at home.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we got Southampton versus Crystal Palace. I like Crystal Palace a lot. I'm gonna go 2-0 CP.
Palace 2-0 for you. I'm going to 1-1 draw here.
All right.
I just think Vieira's teams played well, and Southampton at home is just a tough place to play. Tough to win away.
Okay. We got Aston Villa taking on Norwich. I'm taking Aston Villa 1-0.
I got Villa 2-0. I think Coutinho and Danny Ings put the pair of goals in.
There you go. I like it. Wolves versus Brighton. I think this one is a very similar style of play. I got 1-1 draw.
Wolves at home is the only reason why I'm taking them here. I'm going Wolves 1-0.
All right. Leeds versus Manchester City. I got this one as the blowout of the week. 4-0 for Manchester City.
Well, this is where my bias comes in a little bit here. I'm taking a 1-1 draw.
Wow.
Leeds and City have the same record in their past 5 games. Jesse Marsch has played very well so far, and I think realistically, if we're looking at it, I think this team is where it needs to be right now to not only move forward but to continue with success building up into next year. I think this would be a big stepping stone for it. Give me the draw on that one.
All right, I like it. Nothing wrong with it. Tottenham taking on Leicester City. I got 2-1 Tottenham on this one.
Just write down the same score.
All right. Same winner?
Same winner, yep.
Everton versus Chelsea. I got 3-0 Chelsea.
Ooh. Now, remember when I said off air, I was talking about a little bit of biasy that I had here?
Yeah.
This is part of it. So I had Watford beating Burnley. I have Everton drawing at Goodison Park against Chelsea 1-1. So they'll technically only be a point back with a game at hand.
Okay. Moving on, we got pretty good battle between the west and east side of London. West Ham versus Arsenal. I got a 1-1 draw on this one.
I got Arsenal 2-0. I think West Ham's going to be a little bit tired after their matchup with Frankfurt on Thursday as well.
All right.
While Arsenal will have a little bit of the fresher legs.
Manchester United taking on Brentford. That is on Monday, May 2nd. We're predicting this one because we will be recording on Monday. Therefore, it would not be enough time for us to give you a prediction. I'm going with a 2-0 victory for United on this one. What are you going with?
Going 3-1.
3-1, all right.
3-1.
Brentford or United? I have to ask.
United. If it was at Brentford, I might have said Brentford, but it's at it's at Old Trafford, so we'll go with United.
All right. So that does it for the prediction round of this episode number 80. Excuse me. So we got a couple rumors and we got some breaking news. I'll leave it off to Jones to start with either one, or if he wants to go to the MLS Best Selection, let's go to the MLS Best Selection.
I'll save the MLS Best Selection for last. It's the last
All
thing
right.
we look forward to at our show.
So which topic do you want to go into next?
So obviously the United stuff. We'll just get it out of the way.
All right, let's do it. So Manchester United, we got breaking news from Manchester United that happened over the weekend. Erik Ten Hag officially appointed as the new manager of this team, club, organization, whatever the heck you want to call it, disaster, handicap match. I don't know what you want to call it. But
Handicap match. Wrong podcast.
Erik Ten Hag has been now announced as the new person in charge of the Manchester United football team, with Ralph Rangnick staying in the club as the consultancy role that he agreed to take on when he took over the interim management job for United. Um, what are some thoughts? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of thoughts going on. There's a lot of rumors already going on about what he will have to do and what he will be looking to do, plus the budget that he'll be working with and all that stuff. So, what are your thoughts as you hear this announcement from a Liverpool uh, fan base standpoint?
So even when Ralph Rangnick was hired, you looked at it and said that this team had a step in the right direction. You knew Ragnick wasn't going to be the guy for long, but you knew he was going to be the guy that could help build to the future. And Ten Hag is the guy that will build to the future. This United team is going to see a big, big shakeup this summer in the transfer window. And realistically speaking, looking at it, I would say you're looking at potential double digits of the door for players.
Yes.
Including, I'll say, along with some big names, along with Cristiano Ronaldo, Paul Pogba, and for Diego's sake, I'm going to say Harry Maguire as well.
Oh, thank God. Yep. Yep. No, I agree with you. I think the Ten Hag appointment, it's an excellent appointment. I kind of wish that the contract was a little bit longer. He is contracted through 2025 with an option for an additional year. Uh, it's a safeguard of a contract, but it's not a contract that really allows for Ten Hag to fully develop his 5 year plan with United. One of the portions of the 5 year plan that Ten Hag definitely has is to start bringing big name tickets to United, and that's something that way before, way before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was appointed, that was something that I had mentioned. United has been going for this big ticket names for the sake of things to have a big name in their club, and it's just not in our DNA. If you look at the previous United legacy, who they were and what they were before they even came to United, it makes sense why big names just don't work out of Manchester United. If you look at Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, uh, you look at Tim Howard, who he was before he even joined United. Uh, Wayne Rooney, he was super young before he even reached United level. He was developing at Everton, but it wasn't like, oh my God, Wayne Rooney is everything that everybody needs to get. He wasn't that. uh, you look at Dmitry Berbatov, you look at Ruben Nistelrooy, you look at some of these people and you're just saying, who were they before they even reached United and what made them who they were? And it's reaching United, what made them who they were and why they're such big names at this day and age. Bringing somebody, big names like Edison Cavani, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo to this team, it just, in a way, doesn't make sense. In a way, it made sense for Cristiano Ronaldo because I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for Cristiano Ronaldo coming into this team and being the leading striker for this team this year, United's situation would be far worse. We could even be talking relegation purposes at this point. Uh, but with that being said, I do agree that Ten Hag definitely needs to clear out this team, needs to do a lot of maintenance in this team, and needs to build around some of the younger players. He needs to, number one, be able to find a way to maintain Marcus Rashford in this team. I think if he builds around a solid base of youngsters like Rashford, Fernandez, uh, Sancho, and Diogo Dalot to stay in the team, he will have a solid base to have a solid foundation with. I'll even say Fred should stay with the team because he is that energetic, high tempo guy that you need in the midfield, especially at this day and age. Um, Everyone else can leave the team. I could care less. Uh, I think at this point, David De Gea definitely deserves the captainship of this team. He just hasn't had the opportunity. And if there's any team that comes knocking at the door of David De Gea, I don't think that if he was to be sitting down at his table thinking with all five of his senses, that he should, that he should turn down that opportunity because, to be frankly honest, at this point, you've made a career already of Manchester United. You already have a decent legacy. If you want to move on elsewhere, you should move on elsewhere. You have the talent to be able to do that, and who knows, maybe a new opportunity elsewhere will bring him to be to championship caliber. He deserves to be a champion, and he hasn't had the opportunity to do so in quite a long time at this point. So Manchester United, if anything, is doing a disservice to David De Gea. Um, Everyone else, like I said, can leave the club. Edison Cavani is just too old to stay in this team. We already failed with signing big name strikers. I mean, Odin and Gallagher was the first failure that we had. We just loaned them back to another team. That makes no sense. Bringing Edison Cavani made no sense here. He was solid, but it wasn't like he shook the ground when he started here. So Edison Cavani will be going. Nemanja Matic, I hate that he's leaving, but I understand why he's leaving, and it makes sense. He deserves to go to a slower paced league like the Italian league. I think he will thrive there. Uh, then you look at everything else. Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire. You looking at Eric Bailly, Juan Mata, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. A lot of these guys that just don't make sense to stay in the team. It's a lot of money to be staying in the team, and quite frankly, their contributions just haven't been all that outstanding. Anthony Marshall should seek a full-term contract with wherever he is, whether it's Sevilla or whether Sevilla decides to send him back. He deserves a contract elsewhere. I don't think he will do any good at all in Manchester United, especially under the Ten Hag caliber. Uh, I do think, again, I do. The only problem that I have with this contract for Ten Hag is that I think it deserves to be a little bit longer. I think it should go until 2026 with an option to extend in 2027 because it does not take 2 years to rebuild this Manchester United team to the place that needs to rebuild. And one thing that I'll add that Ralph Rangnick said very well, and I full-heartedly agree with him, is when you when you look at teams like Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, the foundations that they have right now are foundations of people that have worked about 5 to 6 years to get them to where they are. Jurgen Klopp has not had Liverpool be where they are right now if he wasn't his first season. In fact, his first season, they ended in eighth place and they survived somehow, some way, while they were facing a lot of injuries and a lot of attitudes in that locker room. But
Mhm.
Jurgen Klopp took that team and rebuilt it basically after having about 5 to 6 different signings in the following season, where he brought in great names that really are now the center core of that whole entire team. You're talking about Mo Salah, you're talking about Sadio Mane, you're talking about Firmino, you're talking about Divock Origi, you're talking about Sherdan Shaqiri. I
Oh,
mean,
say Allison Becker, baby. Come
yeah,
on.
Allison. Oh, Allison Becker, absolutely. I can't forget about that. The only signing that really flopped on Jurgen Klopp was uh, Carriers, but I mean that's long forgotten. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, right. But that's long forgotten. Other than that, I mean, this guy. If you look at Jurgen Klopp, he's been a genius with the amount of money that he's been given to spend, and still have budget rollover for following openings where he might need a band-aid or two here and there. I mean, look at, for example, Ozan Kabak. He did a solid contract for the guy. He worked out perfectly fine for Liverpool, and now he's moved on to Norwich City. So, frankly, that's something that Ten Hag should do. I don't think that United should be looking to be back at Champions League, though. It would be a disservice to the team. It would be a disservice to Erik Ten Hag. And frankly, after all those people finally leave the club, I want to know what the actual budget will be for Manchester United because right now they're talking figuratively anywhere between 150 million to 200 million dollars worth of 200 million euros worth of expenditures available for Ten Hag. But quite frankly, after all those names, clear out the club, that's about
It's gonna be close to
double.
350, 375.
Yeah, that's about double. So, frankly, this is a great opportunity for somebody as young as Ten Hag, and I wish him nothing but the best. I have no expectations other than hopefully Anthony into Manchester United.
One thing to add as well, and this is a guy that you've wanted United to use more, and he's going to get used more in Ten Hag's system when he comes back from his loan at Everton, and that's Donny van de Beek.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't want to see the only thing that I don't want to see Ten Hag do is bring the base that he had at Ajax and bring it here to Manchester United. Not every player will work the same.
I don't think so. I agree with you 100% there. I think you might get a guy or two, but Donny van de Beek, we've seen what he can do in the EPL. We've seen what he can do in the top levels of European football competition with Manchester United, and playing in a system like Ten Hag's is. I think he would flourish in that. So I'm excited to see him in a United uniform next year.
The only additional piece of excitement that I have for Manchester United is the fact that finally the board decided to listen to somebody like Ralph Rangnick and follow his advice of letting Ten Hag have a say on every single one of those signings. You just cannot continue to be down on this roller coaster of saying, "Oh, I want to sign it like Erling Haaland." Well, what does Sir Alex Ferguson think? What does Gary Neville think? What does Roy Keane? Who the fuck cares about what those guys think? They're no longer in the team. They don't even make a decision on the team anymore. Gotta let go of that. The past is the past. Gotta let it go. But that's all for Ten Hag. We also got some rumors going on for the EPL. Antonio Conte rumored by various reports to potentially be the next head coach of Paris Saint-Germain. What do we think? Where does Pochettino land, especially now that it is said to be Pochettino's last season with PSG? Where does he land? Does he stay? Does he renew? Does he go elsewhere? Who replaces Pochettino? And what are some moves that we could think could happen in this next year, management wise?
Listen, it's just you got to feel for Tottenham here. I mean, since we've started the podcast, they're now going to be on their fourth manager if Antonio Conte leaves.
Yeah,
that's a little bit ridiculous especially for a world class club like Tottenham is. So for me, I look at it and
I shouldn't say much. Much considering United's gone the same way. But
correct. The only thing is for me is if Conte leaves Tottenham to go to PSG, it leaves two things for me. One, it leaves me that Conte wasn't going to get what he wanted in Tottenham for the summer, which is a huge issue if that's the case. Because of how quickly he revamped this team and how he's set this team up for success and potential Champions League football next season. And two, it just makes me believe that Tottenham's ownership doesn't trust their own process in building towards the future. They're in win now mode, but you can't win now if you have a turnstile of managers coming in left and right. It's ridiculous how crazy these past year and a half has been for any Tottenham football player or Tottenham fan as well. So for me, does Conte go there? I mean, if PSG is going to give him the keys, Conte is going to go anywhere where someone's going to give him the keys to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. That's why he left Inter, and that's why he came to Tottenham, because he was under the impression he was getting the keys to Tottenham for their future. But if PSG is going to do it, obviously, does that play into Mbappe staying? Maybe, who knows? But I don't know. It's curious to see. For Pochettino, I mean, people are rumbling about him going to Real Madrid to play Ancelotti. Let's nip that in the butt right now. That does not happen. No shot whatsoever. I think if Diego Simeone were to leave, I think he would fill in for Atletico Madrid right there. But other than that, I don't see Pochettino going back to the Premier League. La Liga, besides Atletico Madrid, if Simeone leaves, I think we see him in Serie A. I think realistically speaking, we could see him as the manager of a team like Napoli or Lazio. To be honest with you.
Okay. Two things I'll say real quick. Number one, for Conte at Tottenham, I think there's two theories that I'm working on right now. Number one, that being the case that Antonio Conte basically said to Daniel Levy, basically, I'll get your team back on their horses to get back to Champions League, but I'm not sure I want to stay. And that is exactly what's happening here. Exactly what is happening here. The second point being, maybe Daniel Levy doesn't have as much money as he thinks he does have, and therefore, with necessary needs for the summer transfer window needed within Tottenham, and for the agenda that Antonio Conte has, they kind of both agreed and said, let's do the team a service. Let me leave. Let me continue my management career. And you build your team to how you want, spending the little money that you want to spend. Because if there's an owner that is extremely cheap in the Premier League, it's Daniel Levy. There is nobody else cheaper than him. So I think those are the two theories happening. Number one, could Pochettino come back to Tottenham? Absolutely. I think there's still a story waiting to be written there. We've seen teams bring back their coaches. Zinedine Zidane, for example, was brought back to Real Madrid. Carlo Ancelotti was brought back to Real Madrid. So we've seen that happen. We've seen that work to its advantage and work to its disadvantages as well. So Pochettino could very well come back to Tottenham and thrive into that system. Wouldn't be a bad thing if he did like a 1-year contract to see how he can do, and then from there go on. I do think realistically, though, Pochettino could land in one or two places. I do agree with the Napoli take. I do agree that Pochettino could land in Napoli. But something tells me that Pochettino could very well also land at a team with not that much of a high rater on them, but still big enough. And that is Ajax. I could see him landing in Ajax, somewhere where he could basically redo the wheel that he did at Tottenham and leave after that. So those are the two places where I could see him landing. Other than that, I mean, Pochettino doesn't really have much of a purpose in the Premier League. I didn't want him as a United team coach. It's not the appropriate time for him to be in. Yeah, I just don't see where else he could go, and I don't think he's ready for Spanish La Liga either. If somebody like Diego Simeone is to leave, Diego Simeone is probably going to be the replacement of Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Let's be honest about that. That's the only place where I could see Diego Simeone going, or maybe even Bayern Munich.
Yeah. So if Conte leaves Tottenham, what do you think? Who do you think is going to be their next manager?
For Tottenham?
Yeah.
I think there's three names. I think there is Brendan Rodgers. I think he would be a great fit for Tottenham. He's already established man in the Premier League. There's no question about his record. He could do very well there. I think somebody like Pochettino could come back for sure.
You just said he won't come anywhere close to EPL.
Well, he wouldn't go anywhere else for the EPL. I think Tottenham is his only home for the EPL.
I don't think Tottenham brings it back.
But other than that,
Give me another name.
For Tottenham,
give me the name we talked about off air. Give it to me.
Oh yeah. This guy would be the only really good choice for Tottenham, and that name is Roberto Mancini. That's a philosophy that you need to implement here. Somebody who's just got to tell it to you straight like it is and be able to build a powerhouse of a team. If Tottenham has expectations of being this big nightmare in the Premier League, that is the guy that you need to bring in and trust him with his plan for the first 3 years.
I think it's going to be Brendan Rodgers personally. It makes sense. You and I both thought at one point he was the next manager for Manchester United before the Ragtag movement.
And I would have loved that over Pochettino. Don't get me wrong.
Realistically, I think he's poised to take a step up. Leicester right now, I just think they're in like a little bit of a middle of the table purgatory that they kind of have to adjust. And I think in order to do that, they might need to shake some things up. And to shake some things up, they might need a new manager. Because the thing is for Rodgers is in the last 2 seasons, besides this year, they've sat in 5th both times. They were in the top 4 the majority of the year and then fell to 5th on the last day. So for me, and that's with a Leicester City team. Imagine what he can do with, I don't know, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, one of the best duos in the world right now when it comes to production.
Yeah.
So it's that's another big step moving forward. But that's really it on that I have.
All right. I like it. All right. So last but not least, it is time for the MLS Best Selection.
Boom, 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 boom. So the debut, Diego was the only one that got the MLS Best Selection correct.
Oh, shit.
I had San Jose winning. They ended up with a draw, and then he had Austin FC winning, and they ended up winning 3-2. This week, for me, my best selection, I have Charlotte over Orlando.
Okay.
My best selection.
My best selection here. Let me take a look. I'm looking.
Close your eyes and pick one.
Yeah, right.
Close your eyes, pick one, and flip a coin between the 2 teams.
Yeah, so for my best selection, I'm gonna go with LA Galaxy winning over Real Salt Lake.
Okay. I don't hate that. Not a bad one.
So with that said, and once my throat finally decides to clear up, episode 80 is officially in the books. Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in week in and week out. Listen to the 2 of us just ramble about soccer. Hope you have enjoyed the show. We will continue to do more of this. As Jones mentioned, this is year 2 and it's been exciting. Year 3, prepare because we're ready to take this to the next level. I can't wait to hear his ideas. I'm sure he can't wait to hear my ideas as well. Year 3, we're ready for this. But with that said, episode 80 concludes here. Make sure that you follow the Couch Guys Sports Network on Twitter, Couch Guys Sports. That's the Twitter handle. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter as well at Podcast Card. We're on Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, on YouTube, anywhere, you name it. We're everywhere. Thank you all so much. Until next week, see you later.